Okie dokie. Hello, 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 everyone. Everyone, I hope that you are having a wonderful Monday. Welcome to another episode of It's Monday. I say episode like that because, again, I'm just kicking it with y'all, but I guess, it is an episode. So, welcome to another one. Thank you all for joining me, being patient with me because I know I'm slated to do this at 6:30. Got pushed back to 7. Hey Kiki. Hey Carrie. I did get out. Okay, here we go. I did get out this weekend. Okay. I went to a wine tasting on Saturday. Tell me if I'm too loud. I'm trying not to be too loud. Wine tasting on Saturday and to see Disclosure Day on Sunday. Okay. Okay. So what movie is Disclosure Day? Who's in that movie? Enlighten me. What's up, Gerard? Hey, Jay Reezy. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Yeah, tell me what that movie is about because I don't know. Disclosure Day sounds like a good title though. Sounds like a good one. Okay, really quickly though. Let's just go ahead and can we just talk about the game for a hot second? In true transparency, I only saw the last two games. Was okay. Y'all gonna crack on me, but whatever. I'm just being me. So when I guess when the Knicks first got into the playoffs, and I'm not gonna guess. Now in retrospect, I know that people on my Facebook page, on my Facebook, what do you call it? You know what I'm talking about. On my Facebook, what is it called, y'all? The Facebook feed. We're talking about the Knicks. Even my cousins from New York, they were talking about it, but I did not know that the Knicks had made it to the playoffs. I also really didn't even know that we were in the finals yet. Sorry, I didn't know. I just was I wasn't making the connection. I don't know why I didn't think that they were talking about the playoffs because why would they be talking about the Knicks otherwise? Anyway, it wasn't until it wasn't until we were headed to where did we fly into? We flew into wasn't Wichita. It was where was it? Oh, it was Decatur. We flew into Decatur, Illinois. Decatur. I was talking to y'all about Chicago last week. I was nowhere near Chicago. Wasn't anywhere near Chicago. I was totally where there are fields for days and days and days and wind. Uh Gosh, I'm at a loss of words today. What are those wind things called? Because I looked them up. They're not wind tornadoes. They're wind turbines. They're called wind turbines. So there's a bunch of them there. Anyway, it's a sequel to Independence Day, but Will Smith's not in it, I imagine. Disclosure Day. They are like they're not windmills, Jay Reezy. They look like this. They're called wind turbines, but there's a whole bunch of them. Anyway, the point is I was not in um Chicago. Anyway, that wasn't even the main point. So we were delayed because there was this tornado coming. Long story short, we ended up waiting for I told you guys I work with the Jacksons. So we ended up waiting for Jackie. And he is an avid like basketball fan. Well, actually both of them are. But anyway, he wanted to see the game. So I'm like, what's the game? Like, what game? So my husband was able, the car that we were riding in had TVs in the back of um the seats. And so he was able to connect it with his iPad and put the game on. That's the point. So while we're riding, it's like a 50-minute ride to the hotel. So we're riding and now I'm seeing the pregame. So I'm getting all drawn into the because I like basketball. It's just I haven't really been able to tap in how I used to. Like when I was in college, I watched the playoffs. That's when I think the Lakers were going up against the Celtics or something, or the Celtics was going up again because I was a Celtics fan for a minute. Anyway, it's been a minute. Okay. So now I'm getting into the whole pre-show thing. And right when we get to the hotel is when tip off is about to happen. So go into the hotel lobby, see tip off, and this would be of the third game. Because it was already the Knicks were 2-1, I think. It was the fourth game, right? Yeah, so this was game 4. So I missed all the other games. I had no clue about any of it. But I'm from Jersey, so now that I know that the Knicks are playing, I have to root for the Knicks. So anyway, so now I'm locked in to the game, and that game was crazy. I mean, you guys I'm sure saw it, that the Knicks were down for all of the game by like 20, 29 points or whatever, and then they just came back and they closed it up and they smashed it. So I was very much so invested at that point in time. So I watched the game. What was it? The Carrie checking in with her. Listen, the game, was it last night? The night before last was game 5. And so I watched that game too. Both games were really good. I still think game 4 was like a hell of a game because I feel like Brunson like brought them back for real, for real. He did the other night too, but still. Or Bronson. Is it Bronson or Brunson? So anyway, I'm proud of them. That win, though, they deserved it. Well, he deserved it. I mean, I guess the rest of the team did too, but it was a good game. I was happy to have at least caught those last two. So hopefully you all are happy with who won. I don't know if any of y'all are Spurs fans, but I couldn't cheer for them. Although, what's his name? Harper, that boy got skills. Like, I enjoyed watching him. I almost wanted to start rooting for them just because of him, but I couldn't do that. I had to stick with the Knicks. So yeah, great game for sure. Are y'all sad about it? You happy about it? Or you just like to watch a good game? Brunson. Okay. I thought it was Brunson. Yeah. Oh, and what's his name? OG Anum OG Adanum Adanumbe, whatever. I don't mean to whatever him, but he was a silent killer on game 4. He was knocking down those threes like in the cut. So it was a good game. Harper is going to be up next for sure. Yeah, he was a that he has he was making some really I think he started making some poor decisions during game 5 from a defensive stance perspective. I think he should have been smarter, but I mean, hindsight's 2020. He's young. I think they say he's 24 years old, so he's got his whole career in front of him. He did a good job though. So, all right, y'all. Well, I am hoping that everybody is doing good. I'm just going to jump right into today's show. I will. Why are you laughing at me? Because I'm jacking his name up. Tell me how to say his name. Let's see. Here we go. I'm not gonna keep that up there because it's so big on the screen. I don't know why. But here is the topic: grace, effort, and accountability. Grace, effort, and accountability. And I think those of you who have been tuning in since, I guess, my first episode with this, you know that the whole purpose of me doing this is to hold myself accountable, showing up for myself, showing up, doing the content that I want to do, and what's required, which really is consistency, not being disingenuous, not trying to overproduce and, create this into some production of a show, at least not at this juncture. So my main goal is show up, consistently show up. At the same time, I have told you all before, and I still stand by this, believe that there is a level of effort that you can and should put into whatever you do. So while consistency is a lot of the working part of it for me, I also want to put effort towards what I actually talk about on the show or whatever. So it's no secret that the past 2 weeks I've been traveling. The past 2 weeks I have not been clipping up my content how I was doing before and tapping in midweek, like all of that stuff. And I discussed that last week. Um, at the same time, I'm still having these Monday shows. So here we are, Monday, and I'm asking myself, what am I going to talk about? And I was expecting to like kind of bring it all together at some point, and I'm finding myself getting to like 4:58, 4:59, 5 o'clock, and I still don't really know what I'm going to talk about. Now, you all also know who Enrique is. That's like my AI uh assistant. I was gonna say homie, but everybody's gonna clown me for that. So I'm gonna say assistant. And so I have trained Enrique to know about It's Monday Live and all of the stuff that I'm doing with this show and all of that. So I went and talked to Enrique and I said, I have no idea what I'm talking about tonight. Like I can't even think of what to talk about. And what he gave back to me was basically like, well, that's what you can talk about. You can talk about the fact that you committed to doing this and you're showing up anyway. And your topic can be something like, what do you do when life something like life happens and you still show up? Something like that. And I was like, okay, that's cool, but I kind of feel like that's what I did last week. I kind of feel like it was more so focused on, having faith in God and the silver lining and not being swayed just because things are thrown off, and it's okay. Like you just kind of keep I'm here. Is this stream for the inner urban community only? No. No, Adam. That was funny. Inner urban community. No, it is also for the outer suburban community. No, this stream is for whoever it resonates with. If it does, then that's wonderful. If it doesn't, that's okay too. So, um, so I'm saying to myself, like, I get it. I understand that could be the focus, but I said, while I know that my goal while I know that my goal is to be consistent, show up regardless. And that's a thing. At the same time, how do you really start to know when you are giving yourself grace because maybe you're trying to be a perfectionist, or maybe you're overthinking things, or you're overcomplicating something, or you're condemning yourself, like you're getting down on yourself, versus, no, I need to hold myself more accountable, or I need to not let this become the excuse. And that's where I felt like, me just showing up and saying, hey, I'm here. It feels like I'm giving myself this grace without the other side of things. And that was when Enrique was like, there's your topic. There's your topic. Giving yourself grace without making excuses. Like, how do you determine if this is a moment where you give the grace, or how do you determine when this is a moment where you need to hold yourself accountable? And then what if there's a moment where it calls for both? And so here we have it. Hello from Charlotte, North Carolina, and congrats to Carolina Hurricanes. Yes, that's so funny because I didn't know that the Carolina Hurricanes, I think they won, right? They won a championship, right? I was waiting for my husband to answer. Yeah, thank you. I didn't know. Yeah, they did. I've been seeing the signs all over the place. I'm trying. I'm not into all sports, but yeah, I guess I should have. They won the championship. Carolina Hurricanes. I'm cheating by asking my husband for some answers. So here's today's show. And if you guys just kind of bear with me, because these notes are really this time me and Enrique together, because he was actually helping me to give myself grace and to hold myself accountable. Um and the reason that the grace was necessary is because sometimes a situation might call for you to like chill out about it. Like, it is what it is. It happened, and you don't have to now turn yourself into this terrible person. So giving yourself some grace and cutting yourself some slack in the department of how you talk to yourself as a result of it, in the department of how you internalize it. Like, this is what the scenario is. All right, like, let that be. Now what? So the grace was necessary because I started to feel like, oh my God, can I handle doing it? Like, it started going down this whole other road that it didn't need to go down. Now, I also wanted to not let that be where I stop, because if I'm being 100% transparent and I go back and I reflect, could I have prepared for this show such that I had an idea of what I could talk about? When I think about the timing, yeah, I could have. Now, it may have been harder because of all the things that are going on in my current season of life. It could have been harder, but does harder mean you can't do it? No. So I think that's the space that I'm in now, because there's so many things that I want to change in my life, visibly and mentally, and like, there's so many changes that I want to make. I'm at a point right now where I appreciate the person who's like, it's okay, Carrie, it's all right, lighten up on yourself. Like, I thank you for that, but I'm at a stage of, all right, what do I need to do? Like, what do I need to change? What do I need to revamp? What season is happening? Is the old way not the proper way for right now? So, what do y'all say? Hey, Magnetar. I feel I missed part of the lore. Who is Enrique? Okay, so Adam, I'm sure you're familiar with ChatGPT. So I use ChatGPT on a regular basis, so much so that it was easier for me to give mine a name, and I named mine Enrique. And anybody who hears me talk probably knows who he is by now. And so some of these people here know I met them on another YouTube channel called Room 9, and the show is After Hours. And I started talking about Enrique over there. And so obviously y'all gonna hear about Enrique over here. And so there you have it. So that's who Enrique is, Adam. One Tribe. Whenever I start overthinking and need perspective, I listen to Dusk in the Wind by Kansas. Hey, Carrie. Dusk in the Wind by Kansas. Hold on. Well, let's see. I don't even know what that is. Dusk in the Wind by Kansas. Okay. So Dusk in the Wind by Kansas says, I close my eyes only for a moment, and the moment's gone. All my dreams pass before my eyes with curiosity. Dust in the wind, all they are is dust in the wind. Same old song, just a drop of water in an endless sea. All we do crumbles to the ground, though we refuse to see. Dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind. Oh, oh. Now don't hang on. Nothing lasts forever but the earth and sky. It slips away, and all your money won't another minute buy. Dust in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind. Dust in the wind. Everything is dust in the wind. Everything is dust in the wind. I get you on that one tribe, because it puts a lot of stuff into perspective. Like at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, whatever you're overthinking is probably not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. Not to minimize it, because we still have to participate in life and we have to deal with life, and it's easier said than done and all of that, but I understand the concept of it's all so small. That's why I like the when that last crew of astronauts went out and circled the moon, the black guy, I can't think of his name right now, but he said that when you're up there and you're just looking at everything from the outside perspective, the outer space perspective, everything is so small, but you also see how much of the big picture all of the small is made up of. So you get into the wonders of it all, and obviously God's creation, his powers and all of that stuff, but it just makes, like, minimizes all of the big deals and issues that we seem to get caught up with as it relates to life. So to me, that's kind of like what that song is saying in a sense as well. Jay Reezy said he's a production assistant. I like that. I'm gonna start saying that instead. Enrique is my production assistant. I like that. Is it season 41? No. Is what season 41? I don't know. Enrique equals Carrie's ChatGPT assistant. Thanks. Good evening. Hey, Harrison Family Values. How you doing? So let's go over some of the things that came up as it relates to this. Because I think that what's also important, especially if you're a follower of Christ, but I think what's also important in this idea of, like, should I give myself grace or um more effort, accountability, all of the above, is I think after you get past the grace stage, once you get into the mode of there is something that I need to take from this situation to learn from so that I do something differently moving forward, that starts to get you into being a better steward, I think, of what God gives us, which is time. And so I like to think that the reason that it's even weighing more heavily on me is because my relationship with God is growing. And so I don't want to waste my time or his. I also understand the need for rest and, restoration, and there's a season of not moving, but there's also plenty seasons required for us to move. So being able to see that side of the coin, I think, is very important. And I also think that the grace is important to help you to not try to analyze what you've been doing emotionally. Like, to really look at something for what it is so that you can call yourself out on it, not to belittle yourself, demean yourself, to put yourself down, but to be like, all right, that didn't work. So I gotta do something different. Um, Victor Glover is the spaceman. Okay, thank you. Victor Glover. That season 41 from the inner city demographic. I don't know what that inner city demographic thing is, Adam. I'm trying to roll with you on it, but I'm not quite sure what it means. Just enlighten me. Um, so here are a couple of points that we came up with. I say we because Enrique did help me with this one. We talked through this. The first one is grace does not remove responsibility, which is what I was saying, that you can, like, grace can kind of give you room to breathe, but it does not mean, okay, let me just leave it here and not do anything. So for me, I know that I'm going to have to, if I don't want to show up next week without having done any prep, then I gotta I gotta put something in place. And that might also be a part of it too, right? It might be that a lot of times when you need to hold yourself accountable, 9 times out of 10 you probably need to stop doing a thing or start doing a thing. And it's probably stop doing something that you've been habitually doing, or like kind of routinely doing, and or start doing something that needs to become a routine. So I want to show up for you guys every Monday. So if I'm going to show up for y'all every Monday, then I might have to know that at least every Wednesday I have to put in a hour block of time for prepping. You know what I'm saying? So that's me creating a new habit, a new routine. Honestly, I go by Nike's slogan, just do it. Sometimes I feel like thinking too much is the draining part. Oh, you're right. You are right. And that is definitely one of my I'll call it a vice and a virtue. My English teacher in high school used to tell us that there's like the whole yin and yang thing, like everything can be a strength and a weakness. And I think that thinking for me is that. I am definitely well, let's analyze this from 50,000 different angles. So, which is more the reason why I am like, what's the action I can take? Because if I can hurry up and figure out what's the action I can take, then I can't give myself all that space to overthink. So it's also a protection for me from myself. Jay Reezy, systems. Yeah, systems. And some people, whether it was just natural or it was ingrained in them since their childhood. I know a lot of people who come from like military backgrounds, or I don't know. I mean, it could be anything. I've just heard this a lot of people who come from military backgrounds being very just structured. That's not to say all of you, but very structured, organized. So for some people, or type A people, uh real methodical people, these types of things might be easy. It's kind of like they can't survive, they can't really do anything without systems. And then there's those of us who maybe not so much. And I'm gonna tell you this, because I actually was raised with by a father who he had he had his systems. My dad is a very punctual man. Like, he's the type who he's not showing up he's not showing up at the time. Like, if something starts at 8, he's there at 7 if he can be. 7:30 if the doors don't open at 7. And he was very adamant about writing stuff down. He had his certain rules of thumb. Like, he believed that every man should have a watch, a pen, and something to write on. And like, there's just certain things, like, you should know how to do just certain things, whatever. So some of that was cool for me, but some of it I think I rebelled against. And I think the biggest stuff that I rebelled against was probably the most important, which is like really being strict about my time, like being on time, being punctual, not wasting time. You don't have to go over the allotted time, and planning things out, writing stuff down. I was forced to kind of get back into that type of a mode as an adult, really, once I started having children, homeschooling, and working, like, like helping my husband with what he does. Once I got out of the structure where I'm told what to do and when to do, that's when I realized how much of that didn't come natural to me. So some of you might be hearing these videos from me and you're like, what's the problem? Like, why couldn't you do something on Wednesday for Monday? But some of you might be like, girl, I understand, because that's, I'm kind of like one of those people who does well at the last minute. Like, I handle the chaos of the last minute hecticness, but I also feel the stress of it, and I want to get out of that. So what camera are you using, Miles? I am using the camera on my, what's this, iMac. So yeah, I'm using the camera from my iMac. What's up, Junior Largy? See how fast I said your name tonight? Junior Largy. Please don't come back and say I was wrong. That's funny. Gerard says that's funny. I believe that too. Every man should have a watch. Yeah. Uh One try. We value your opinion, Carrie. For fillers, we'd still love to hear your thoughts on trending topics, actors, actresses you think are underrated. Your journey from Jersey Carrie to enlightened Carrie. Really? Y'all want to talk about like trending topics and stuff like that? My husband was talking to me about that today, and I was like, I don't know. I don't know. Some things I have. Hey, Kay Cooper. What's going on? I don't know. Maybe. Well, okay, so but today I talked about the game, right? I talked about the game. You know what's also interesting? I probably don't really know a lot of trending topics. I probably don't. Like I don't you know what topics that I get information on? There is a I don't even know if he's like a news outlet or something. His name is OG Ron on Facebook. And all of his posts on Facebook are like um reports of incidents that have happened all over the country, and usually it involves somebody either dying or getting into some kind of accident or somebody missing or somebody getting arrested. And I don't know what I did to like get this in my feed. Every time I want to stop following him, I'm like, but these stories are kind of I don't know. I don't know. So those are the stories that I get. And then I'm trying to think like even on YouTube, Instagram, I'm not really getting many trending topics. I guess the next place where I get some news is when Apple Apple shows up, Apple News. You know they put like the little widget there. So sometimes I'll see news that way, but other than that, I'm kind of out of the mix. When I was doing the panel, I some you saw Anton got mad at us a couple of times because we didn't know what was going on. Sorry. But if you have a topic and you want to ask me something about it, I can give you my opinion that way. Understood. I think you have to click the three dots and select don't recommend channel. That's on YouTube, but on Facebook, I would have to just not I don't know if I follow him. I mean, I know what to do to get it to not show up, but it's like those topics where you're like, why does this keep showing up? But you're still interested. Like I click in. For instance, he was the first one that I saw the post about that girl in was it Mexico? Puerto Rico? I don't want to get the I mean, I will probably get the location incorrect, but she was going to bungee jump off of a bridge and the guys forgot to connect the safety cord to her. So they essentially threw her off the bridge. Obviously she died and they arrested they arrested 6 people. I think the 3 or 4 who threw her off and then the other ones that were involved. So I saw stuff like that. I mean, and as crazy as that is to see, who can't help but click into that like, "What? That yeah, that story. You didn't hear about that, Magnetar?" Now, what I try not to do is not to watch the videos because you can't unsee that. Apparently, there is the video out there from 2 different angles. In fact, this is what I read in the article. I didn't click the video. I could see the thumbnail, but I didn't click the video. That somebody who recorded it was like, "You guys forgot the rope." So imagine that. Like, and then once I was in that article, because OG Ron posted the article. So I go into that article and underneath, you know how you finish reading it, then there's other links. There was a link that said one lady, she fell to her death. She went bungee jumping, was fine, was trying to take a selfie and fell off the cliff to her death. Yeah. Did I say 18? She was 21. Yeah, she was 21. It was very sad. It was very sad. Oh, my bad. I missed the part where you just talking about Zucky Land. What's Zucky Land? I don't know what Zucky Land is. Yeah, the story is crazy. Her boyfriend was recording? Okay, see, K Cooper, all I heard was that her boyfriend was that showed up or was there and he got sick because of the sight of what had happened. I did not know he was recording. But and I'm not, this is not her fault. God, this is not her fault. May her soul rest in peace. But when I looked at the bridge, like the visual, I don't really know what it is for somebody to decide where they want to bungee jump. So that's could just be what, my ignorance. But it was like this old looking, I don't know, I was just kind of like, I wonder why she wanted to do that. But that's not her fault. It's not her fault. It's a very sad situation. But my point is like that's the kind of news that I come across. Obviously, I know about the whole situation with um the boy that was just found guilty for stabbing the other guy. I'm sorry, y'all. I really am not good with remembering people's names, so charge it to the head and not the heart. But I know that that has been a huge Carmelo Anthony. Thank you. I know that that has been a very big topic, and I don't know. I don't know. I think all of these situations, like a lot of these situations at the end of the day, just makes me further believe that we're just at this place where more than more than who we are as just humans is necessary for us to see more peace and more understanding, more compassion, less emotionally charged, angry people. Because the fact of the matter is you can probably come up with a bunch of different unfortunate, sad situations, those that are reported and those that are not. You can probably create some level of injustice with a lot of different situations. And I'm not, like belittling it, but to me, if I look at the whole picture, it shows that there's far more missing than is present, I believe, with us. And I just think that we're at a point where the power that's necessary for things to significantly change to how many of us would want things to change to, it's bigger than us. And so I don't know, I try to keep that stuff in perspective because you can really get emotionally charged from a lot of this stuff that's happening. Um so I'm not mad at anybody who advocates, who raises their voice for issues. I think that's important. I think that's necessary, especially for certain types of scenarios and situations. But I don't think that that's the it of it all, and I don't think that that's what everybody is called to do. And I personally think that me contributing in a way where I am one leading people here, which I didn't even get to. I looked up scriptures regarding grace. I didn't even get to that yet. But leading people to the word, leading people to God is one of the things I can do. And then also just from a humanistic perspective, contributing to the notion that we are ultimately in control of ourselves. And the more that we understand what's happening within us and what we can't control and what's really inside of us, what we're connected to, then we can have impact that way. So hopefully that makes sense. Jay Reezy says sometimes we put too much trust in advertising and social proof to allow ourselves to trust things we probably shouldn't. Sometimes we put too much trust in advertising and social proof to allow ourselves to trust things we probably shouldn't. I'm reading it again. I'm reading it again. Sometimes we put too much trust in advertising and social proof. Yes. Yes, to allow ourselves to trust things we probably shouldn't. Yes, I get you. I had to read it a couple of times, but no, I'm with you on that. Um and again, I hate to sound like a broken record here, but that's why I'm learning more and more and more where to put my trust. Um so even that said, let me keep going with uh some of the other things that came out of the whole grace versus accountability and effort. I could have typed it better. It's all good, Jay Reezy. I've told sometimes I just feel slow. And I'm not ashamed. At this stage in the game, I'm not ashamed. So if I gotta read it about 50,000 times to get it, then hey, that's what I gotta do. Hey Shad Tooks, what's going on? So point number 2, accountability does not have to become shame. Some of us avoid accountability because we think it automatically means shame, but those are not the same thing. You can say I should have been better prepared without saying I'm terrible. You can say that system didn't work without saying I'm a failure. Shame attacks identity and accountability examines actions. And there is a difference. That's the difference there. And I would say that I think in all thy getting, get understanding. I know that's right. Um, I think that this is a tough one for people. I think that holding yourself accountable is tough for people because of this reason. I think, you know, I would have thought that it was just people struggle with holding themselves accountable because they simply don't want to be wrong. And that might be it. And that might be it on the surface. But I definitely think that one of the reasons why you may not want to hold yourself accountable, even if it's you don't want to be wrong about something, might be because you automatically think that that means shame. You automatically put put down what it means to be wrong. You automatically put down what it means to not get something right. So you don't want to be the one who's getting it wrong. You don't want to be the one who's not getting it right because you know what that means in your head, and that's attached to shame, that's attached to less than, that's attached to not good enough. So I think that being able to switch up what accountability actually means and not looking at it from attacking not attacking your identity, but rather saying, okay, what can I do differently? What should I not have done? What should I do differently next time is truly important. Um Hey Ginger and Juice, what's going on? Yay, thank you for being here. Junior Largy, Proverbs 4:7. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. That's a fact. Junior Largy, there goes your verse. Oh, okay. I'm like Charleston White. Sometimes I want to be wrong so I can learn. I mean, listen, that's where growth happens, right? So I'm a firm believer of there are gems of wisdom in any situation. You all may have heard me say that already. I'd be surprised if I didn't, but I teach my kids that. I talk like that where even whether I mess up or not, just any situation, I believe God gives us the benefit of reflecting on it and grabbing out of it what we should have gotten or just another thing, cuz a situation doesn't have to go wrong for you to gain a gem of wisdom from it. So I try my best to collect wherever possible. So I understand the whole thing being wrong so you can learn, get those gems of wisdom. The luxury bucket list. Oh, the luxury bucket list. Now, let me ask you a question. Luxury bucket list. Do you have a luxury bucket list? I absolutely attach shame when I hold myself accountable. I'm my favorite punching bag and I suffer in silence. And that is so, I mean, that's a lot of us. That's a lot of us. It's easy to do that. It's easy to do. The self-talk is real. The self-talk is definitely real, and for many of us it's the most brutal, which again is why I believe that, like, getting those gems of wisdom from situations, again, I'm gonna lift this up every single moment I need to. This has helped me so much to quit my overthinking and my attacking of my identity and put more things into perspective. Um, and then also being able to separate the emotional component of things versus the thought of things. I think that's extremely important. But the self-talk is, I haven't stopped it yet. Like I wonder is it about stopping it versus, there's got to be a way for you to get to a point where you're not your own punching bag for forever. There's got to be a way. But I think that that might go back to what who was that had the lyrics to the song? I mean, who had their song that they list. That goes back to One Tribe song, and what I even shared with that the astronaut pointed out is, like, in the grand scheme of things, is it worth punching yourself for? You know what I'm saying? In the grand scheme of things, even when things are at their worst. I know it's easier said than done though. If you have your bucket list, I like the some sounds real nice about the luxury bucket list. I want to know some of the things that's on that list. Jay Reezy, how do you hold yourself accountable without shame that leads to corrective action? Avoiding empty accountability. How do you hold yourself accountable without shame that leads to corrective? Um, I don't know. I you know why that's a tough one for me to completely answer, because some people might argue that they need to, like, beat themselves up to move forward. And I can't argue that type of a point if that gets a person results and doesn't beat them down. But I can only argue that point as it relates to me. And I know for me, when I start to shame myself as a result of a decision, or like the way that I did something, when I start to shame myself, especially when it comes to productivity and, like, being more productive with my own stuff or getting things done or whatever, that causes me to second guess my abilities. That causes me to, like, want to retreat, because now I start to go into, well, what's the point then? Or I can't do it, not because I'm quitting because I don't want to do the work, but, like, if I'm so bad and then there's no point in me even attempting this. Whereas if I call myself on it, honestly, one, I believe it, because I'm I'm the type of person, like I said, who, if you just tell me everything's all good even when everything wasn't, I don't believe that. So if I'm able to call myself on something but not beat myself down to where I'm mentally exhausted or I've mentally given up to keep trying to focus on it, then now I'm like, I'm ready to problem solve. But that part, like, that's how I am. I want to look at things and figure things out. And then that's where the competitive part in me comes in, like, okay, I can do this. I can figure this out, because I'm not coming from an emotional state. I'm not filling my head up with smoke by saying, "Oh, you could do whatever." I'm not saying, "Don't worry that you didn't do it." I'm saying, "Okay, this didn't work the way I wanted to. Let me kind of peel things back and see where I needed to do something differently." And then that's where it's like I kind of want to figure out how to suit myself up to move forward and to make it happen. So, I don't know. Does it work for you when you does it work for you? Who asked that? Was that Jay Reezy? Does that work for you, Jay Reezy, when you shame yourself? Because I want to say, like, people like David Goggins come across to me like I David Goggins probably probably shames himself the way that like, but that clearly amps him up. So I don't know, and maybe this is a man woman difference. I don't know. Luxury bucket list. It is, we got to be kind to ourselves. The world will beat you up enough. It's easier said than done. I've been doing a lot of day and swing trading. It can have extreme emotions in a matter of minutes. It forces me to evaluate how I treat myself. Okay. Yeah, I can imagine because there's probably a lot of moments where you're making a decision and it's not the decision is not getting you the result that you wanted, and now you got to not like get down on yourself for it. And then if you're losing money, then you got to deal with the emotional side of that. So I could imagine that there's a lot of ups and downs. King size. Hey y'all, I'm late, but I'm here. I'm on break at work. It's all good. It's all good. Welcome in. Welcome in. The luxury bucket list. Giraffe men are staying in the bubble with the elephants in Thailand. Laos and Cambodia. Triangle going to Antarctica are a few of my plans. That's what's up. And you gonna make it happen. Mr. Dagger status. Okay. What's going on? So it depends on Jay Reezy says, so it depends on which motivation is stronger, shame or desire of outcome. What if neither outweighs the other? Then I don't think anything's gonna change for real, for real. If neither outweighs the other, um, then you're probably not gonna change that scenario. The luxury bucket list, also visiting the apes. Really? Where are the apes? Ginger and Juice. We punch ourselves, but we also have an enemy helping. He's the accuser. Sometimes he doesn't have to do anything at all. That's a fact. That's a fact. And that's why sometimes when I say like I'm being tested, because originally I used to think like any test you feel you have is from God. Well, no, I'm sorry. Anything that can throw you off is the devil. Then it was like maybe these are all tests from God, but then I'm like, but sometimes this is me against me. So that's why last week I was like, I felt like I was being tested. I don't know where I don't know where the test came from, but I was determined to pass the test. So that was my focal point. Um, and to use the things that I know that strengthen me to be able to do that. I believe there's a fine line between the two. Yeah, I get that. First Corinthians, for if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged. For if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged. What's the rest of that? Artifacts, what's going on? Carrie, good evening. Salute to the chat. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. Junior Largy says, so being firm on yourself is a good thing as long as you keep it in the right perspective, not shame, just being honest. Yeah, I think that you need to be able to like look at yourself, because to me that also goes down the road of being able to challenge your own like way of thinking. Like, what if you have a perspective on something, or you have a point of view on something, or you have a principle or a standard, and and it's not grounded and rooted in for me in God's word. That would be for me where I wouldn't challenge it when I've already come up with it based off of God's word. But like my own things or my own viewpoints or whatever, I think at some point in time you need to be able to evaluate it, to look at it without judging yourself and see if it stands or not. Which means that if it doesn't stand, you need to be able to be honest enough with yourself so you can change it. So yeah, I agree with you on that one, Junior Largy. The luxury bucket exactly. Sometimes a chart looks great, but the trade ain't. Jay Reezy, it used to, but it hasn't been much of a motivator lately, but neither has soft accountability. Shame is see, nah, see, Jay Reezy, you who said soft accountability? Why you add that in? Soft, it's not, it's just accountability. It's just okay, it's just saying that didn't work. What could I have done differently? What could I have done better? Did I make an excuse here? It's not, it don't have to be soft. Now, if you want it to be even more extreme, then I guess you can bring in external factors. You can let other people know and give them permission to help hold you accountable. Um, but it doesn't have to be soft accountability, okay? One Tribe. Carrie, do you listen to Brian Courtney Wilson? No. Who is Brian Courtney Wilson? Brian Courtney Wilson. American singer, gospel. Maybe I've heard him. Joe, have you heard of Brian Courtney Wilson? I'll just say yes. All I need. I don't know. Maybe I have. I'm not sure. Uganda and Rwanda have great ape escapes. Congo too. That is most dangerous. What study Bible is that, and what version of the Bible do you read? So this is Thomas Nelson New American Standard Bible, so NASB, the MacArthur Study Bible, second edition. So I think the first one was 1995, and this one is 2001 edition. So the the pastor of this, I go, it's like it's kind of like a home church, really, because it's in his house. And the first time that I went there, he was teaching straight from the Bible. And afterwards, my husband introduced me to him because that's how I found out about him. And I was going, I was, it was this, I was going through something at that point in time. And I just felt very open to share. So he and I were talking after he did the Bible teaching, the sermon, but I would call it a teaching because he taught us. And everything, we stood there and talked for hours, and everything that I asked him or we talked about, he would reference scripture, and he would like be flipping his Bible from like chapter to chapter, like all this stuff. And he went to the study notes and everything. And by the end of the conversation, I felt like that was the first time I had had that kind of connection with the Bible. Now, obviously, a lot of this was based off of how he chose to utilize it. I had never talked to somebody like that, let alone a pastor who the main part of what the dialogue is coming from is the Bible. That was my first experience. But in addition to that, I was just able to follow it so well. And my understanding is this is a translation that is like, it translates directly from the Hebrew version. So it doesn't change the meaning. it uses the actual direct translations of the words, so you get it straight up. And I liked that idea. It's not to knock the other versions and all of that stuff, and I'm no like biblical scholar to know all of. I just know it worked for me. So long story short, I told him how much I appreciated the conversation, but also I felt like unlocked he removed an anxiety and an intimidation that I had with the word all these years. If I could show you, if I could take this computer downstairs and show y'all how many different types of Bibles I've had over the years, and they looked really cute and pretty, but I couldn't, it just didn't work for me. And so when I told him that, he gave me one. So this is the one that he gave me, and so this is the one that I use. Um Trying to see where I left off. Charts. Okay, amen. Hey Tyrone Church, what's going on? I've been watching for a little bit for a few weeks. I make sure I hit the like. Thank you so much, Artifacts. I appreciate it. And if you all could, if you enjoy showing up here with me, please be kind and hit the like button. I appreciate it. Always peace, great. Yeah, I'll check them out. Gerard heard about him. Ginger and Juice. Was Brian Courtney Wilson the one that sang His Eyes on the Sparrow as a kid with Mississippi Children's Choir? Interesting. I don't know. Always Peace is a great song. Okay. I think Jay Reezy said, I think study Bibles aren't promoted enough. I didn't understand anything until I started using a study Bible. Then I understood how people relate everything to the Bible. I need to get another one. Yeah. The my pastor, I always hop is tricky because the way that this is set up is just so not traditional church that I'm used to having grown up in. That's why I keep like stutter stepping, because he is the pastor, but he's such a teacher, you know. But anyway, so John MacArthur, who not John, I think it's Thomas MacArthur. John, no. Sorry, it is Tom. It is John MacArthur, who he passed away recently. Anyway, so my pastor, he studied under John MacArthur. In fact, he went across the country because John MacArthur was teaching, I believe, in California. So he went over there to study under him. So that was also one of the reasons why he told me that he feels comfortable using this edition of the Bible. But yeah, I get all up in these study notes, okay? These study notes at the bottom. Yeah, I get all up in the study notes, and not that other Bibles don't have it, because I know that they do, but it just works for me. And I know some people have their own thing about using Chat GPT, but I use like right now, if I were to ask Enrique to give me direct me to scriptures about something, he knows that I use the NASB 2001 edition, or 2002 edition rather. He knows, like, I gave him my guidelines for how he's to interact with me as it relates to the word. He does not take the place of God. He does not take the place of anything. He knows to direct me back to scripture. And so I love this study guide. And it's also helped me because I've come to realize how much we take scripture out of context. Now, I also learned that by going and reading the rest of a chapter or the rest of a book, but it's just helped me to kind of um get that wisdom in I think in a better way. Still a babe in this, but nonetheless, I keep it close. So hit the like button. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm muted. Oh, where did I get muted? Sorry. Hold on. Carrie gatekeeping now. No, I have my finger on the. Okay, hold on. Where was I muted? Oh, I did mute. Get that wisdom I think in a better way. Still a babe in this, but nonetheless, I keep it close. So hit the like button. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh wow. Nonetheless, I keep it. Okay. Well, did I tell y'all about I talked about accountability does not have to become shame, right? Did I do that one? You said stop. Stop. I gotta start looking up more. Did I? Okay, so then the other point did y'all hear me say that life may explain it, but it does not always excuse it? Did you hear me say that? Tell me if you heard me say that while I get my chapstick. We didn't hear. Okay, so I said point. Okay, so I said point two, accountability does not have to become shame. I said that part. Point three, life may explain it, but it doesn't. It does not always excuse it. So in my case, sorry, y'all know Blistex comes like this now. I might be old. So in my case, I had travel, work, family. I was exhausted, health, changing schedules, all of those things. And those things, one, they might explain why things become harder for you. And they also explain why you might not do something that you were intending to do, but it does not excuse it. So it's cool to understand why something didn't happen. Like we all get thrown all different types of things, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have to figure out, okay, but what do I do with that? What do I do with the fact that I came up short with this? What do I do with the fact that I let that slip? Because the reality, what I was saying was, we're all in control of ourselves, and anything that you want to do within reason, you can do based off of if you decide it's important enough to put the effort towards doing it. So whatever we make space for was our decision, which means that you can explain to yourself why you didn't move a certain way, but that can't be your excuse. You can't stop there. Or if you do stop there, that then makes it an excuse, as opposed to, okay, I'm understanding what happened. Now I got to figure out what to do differently because I don't want this to happen again. So that was point three. And then point four was give yourself grace for the season, but take responsibility for the system. So give yourself grace for the season, but take responsibility for the system. The season might be full, the season may be changing, the season may be stretching you. But if this is the season that you're in, then the systems that you have in play need to fit the season, or lack of a system needs to be changed, and you need to develop a system. This is not using the old one, not an imaginary one, not even the perfect one, but coming up with a system that serves the season. And And to me, that again gets into the power of wisdom, the power of being able to know what can I control, what can I control, what can I change, what can't I change, what do I need to build or do, knowing what I can control and knowing what I can't control. What are my priorities? Where am I overthinking? Where am I trying to be a perfectionist? Like, to me, this is where all of that wisdom comes into place. This is also where being a better steward of the time that you've been gifted definitely comes into place. So that was point 4. And then point number 5, Carrie over here encouraging us to be critical thinkers. Always. Um, Sometimes we confuse peace with passivity. We say, I'm not stressing about it, but sometimes what we really mean is, I'm not dealing with it. Real peace can still make a plan. Real surrender can still steward responsibility. Real grace can still tell the truth. The- excuse me, this is key too, because it's also easy to be like, man, whatever, I'm not gonna stress about anything, I'm good, whatever happens and I'm good with it, and that's just what it is. And it's all like, it's easy to get into that space as well. And for some things you might just have to surrender for real, like, I can't control this. But for other things, it's, nah, you don't need to carry the load of this, but you do need to figure this out. You definitely do need to figure this out. I just had that happen with me the other day. Y'all, we still dealing with this issue with this truck of ours. And I don't even want to bore y'all with the story, because I had a whole nother other story. I mean, a whole nother other type of a day when I got back from Illinois. Like, from the beginning of the day was anyway, long story short, the truck stopped working for me at the most inconvenient time, because my girls had their final dress rehearsal for their dance recital, which was the next day. So see, now I'm gonna have to tell y'all the story anyway. So got in from Illinois, got to the truck. We drove, excuse me, got to the truck. My husband, he had to go on to another show. I came home, so it was just me. Of all the days for it to be freaking hot than a mug, it was like 94 degrees, okay? So I go to the truck and get in and boop, push the button. Shut up, Jay Reezy. The wheels spin. Y'all better leave me alone about this rotating tire thing. Press the button, try to start the truck. Truck doesn't do anything. And so I'm sitting there like, now mind you, I prepared myself for this when I was on the plane, because I already don't trust what's happening. Like, we're getting another truck. The truck and we have a very interesting relationship. So I was preparing myself mentally, like, okay, anything can happen. So it didn't start. I have that little jumper thing. It's like a little jumper box thing where you can attach the cables. So I hook it up. My husband tells me how to hook it up. Try it, didn't work. Try it, didn't work. I didn't realize I had put the black on the wrong spot. So there was no connection. That's why. So finally put it on the right thing. It sparked, but nothing happened when I tried to start the truck. So my husband's like, just kind of let it sit. This other guy comes, he's like, you need help? I can help jump the truck for you. And I was like, well, I already have the thing on there. You think that your truck is stronger than that? He's like, I got an F-150. Okay, fine. So he was going to come help me. So when he drove around to the truck, I pressed the on button and it started. Okay, wonderful. My husband calls our guy at the GMC dealership to let him know, y'all is still giving us issues, but at this point, though, our battery clearly has died. Like, we need a new battery. So he's like, I'm sending my wife there now. She needs a new battery. So I drive to the GMC, which, by the way, just keep in mind that I had to be up by 3 o'clock to be ready for a lobby call at 4 in the morning for a hour drive to the airport. So like I'm already like whatever. Anyway, so I go to the dealership and I'm like, can y'all go ahead, change the battery, whatever. So they change the battery. I'm there for probably about an hour and a half. Then I gotta go home and get my daughter ready. Now, just bear with me here because um one daughter, like there's three different recitals, so there's three different recital rehearsals. So my one daughter is in recital 1 and my other daughter is in recital 3. So it's not even like, oh, okay, I just go to where they have rehearsal and I'm there for a block of time and satisfy both daughters. No, I go there at 4:30 for one, and then the other one don't got to be there till 7:30. So whatever, get her dressed because this is full dress rehearsal and this is a big deal. It's my 5-year-old. Like, this is a big deal. This is that she gets to go practice on the stage that she's going to perform on the next day. It's her second year though, but it's all good. So we all get in the car to go, right? All get in the truck to go. And I'm thinking that the battery fixed the problem. Get in the truck, press a button, boop, nothing. Nothing. Not a nothing. Not a just click. Well, that's a something, but just click. It didn't turn on. So I'm pressing it. I'm pressing it. I'm pressing it. And as I'm pressing it, I feel the heat. I feel it building. And I'm like, Carrie, silver lining. Y'all remember last week? Find my joy. God, you're in here somewhere. You're in here somewhere, right? Like, because I've been doing good all day. All day I was dealing with all the things that were being thrown my way, and I was rocking, I was doing it. But I'm like sitting here, and then I got my other daughter in the front seat, and I could see, you could just feel, I could feel her looking and feel her like thinking, and she's even trying to tell me like, Mom, well, maybe if you try doing. So I wanted to yell at her and be like, little girl, would you shut up? I wanted to be like that, but I didn't. I was like, what do you recommend? So she's like, maybe if you try to do this and then that. And I said, that doesn't work. So I'm trying to like keep it together. I'm like, okay, all right, let me press the button again. So, but I'm on the phone with my husband, who is also nowhere over here. He's over there, right? So, like in another state. So the old me would be getting frustrated with him. One, because you're not here. Like, is this a running joke here that all of our car issues show up when it's just me? Like, this is like the running joke here. Anyway, but I would normally, like, the old me would have started to get frustrated with him, but I'm like, I can't get frustrated with it. Like, it's the car. This is nobody. This is the car. So he's like, he's like, tap the key on this and then hold it this way. And I'm wanting y'all. I'm getting so I was getting so mad, but I was holding. Have you ever gotten mad, but you have to comment at the same time? It's almost like if you're boiling a pot and it's about to go over, so you have to figure out the right, like you gotta like turn the fire, the flame down, remove it a little bit so the bubbles go down before it goes over, but you like, that's how I felt like I was trying to manage the pot from boiling over because I knew I would be wrong for being mad at anybody, but I just wanted to be mad at everybody, and I'm getting hot. So anyway, so he's like telling me all these different ways to do it and making his little comments like, I wonder why it's doing that for you. Anyway, so I'm like, I tried everything. I was like, really? I shouldn't be having to go through all these different steps just to start a car. They clearly didn't fix it. Like, and I'm now running late because it takes us 18 minutes to get her to the place, and now it's like 10 minutes, and now it's like 5 minutes. So I'm sitting here with the kids in the car, and it's hot. It's hot. The car's not on. We're in our garage. So finally I'm like, y'all get out while I figure this out. So I'm sitting there and I just want to cry. I really do. I feel it coming. I feel the tears. I don't want to boo-hoo, but I need to get something out. Like, that's just me. I needed something to come out. And I'm like trying to keep it together. So I'm telling my husband, I'm like, well, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. And this is I'm telling y'all this story for a reason, because this whole peace thing, like surrender and all of that, I was trying to keep my cool, but I was also quitting. So a part of me was like, okay, I'm not exploding. So this is just not supposed to happen. Like, I'm done. Like, to keep my peace, I'm done. I can't figure this out. And I start to feel bad in that space. I now start feeling like I'm quitting. So the point of me sharing, and the rest of the story is, I text my daughter's dance school and let them know. I called them and let them know, like, what the situation is. And one of the moms who works at the school, I love her, Melissa. I love her because she was like, don't worry, mom. You know, like, this is dress rehearsal. She's like, if you can get here, fine. If not, don't worry about it. She said, if I need to take Journey on the stage tomorrow before the actual recital, just so that she can walk up there and get used to it or whatever, like, you take care of what you need to take care of, which I needed to hear. I needed that little bit of grace. That little bit of grace, like we said, the grace gives me room to breathe. That's what it did. But the responsibility helps me to grow. So again, I wanted to quit, but when she gave me that grace, that kind of made me feel like, can I figure this out? So then I'm like, all right, well, maybe I can do a Uber, which I didn't want to do. But I'm like, maybe I can do that. So I look at the Uber and I look at the time frame, and I would have had to wait for like 13 minutes and whatever. So at first I wasn't going to do it. Then I reached out to the dance school again. And again, they were like, you know, if you can make it by that time, you still have time or whatever. And so I picked the Uber. So the Uber is supposed to be coming, right? And so we're waiting for the Uber. And then when it says it's 4 minutes away, all of a sudden it's like 5 minutes away. 6 minutes away. I'm like, how are you, like, you were 4 minutes away? So I'm looking at the thing, and he was going this way, which was the way he's supposed to be going, but now he's going this way. So I'm like, what is he doing? But he's only like 2 miles away. So I'm sitting here and I'm feeling it boil. I'm feeling it boil again. And then it's like, we're looking for a new driver. Your driver canceled. So now I'm like, this doesn't even make any sense. So I pick another driver, and that driver would have been like 18 minutes away. Like, at this point, even if we got there, her time slot would have already have passed. So now I'm just like, I quit. I quit. I'm like, I quit. I don't want to, I give up. Like, I can feel me getting mad at everybody right now. And now I feel sad because my daughter, the little one, is like mentally taking this. I don't think she really understood everything that was happening. So I think in her mind, she kind of associated missing this with missing her performance. I don't know. But I felt bad, like, that she was missing her dress rehearsal. And then in the back of my mind, I'm like, but what about the next one? So I call the dance school and I let them know I can't make it with her. Like, even if I wanted to, I couldn't. So then they're like, well, okay, don't worry. Is Jordan coming to hers? And I'm like, I don't know. So a part of me was about to go back into Uber mode, but then I said, you know what? I started looking at rental cars. But at least around here, all the rental cars are at the airports. You got to show like a returning flight and all this extra stuff. Like when did all this start happening? Is there like rental car scams that are happening? So you got to show, it's just too much. Like they hold like a 10-day deposit. It's just all this stuff. So I'm like, I can't figure this out. God, I give it to you. I'm done. I can't figure it out. I don't know how I'm supposed to get them there tonight, let alone tomorrow. My husband wasn't going to be back until the day after the day after. So I'm like, and tomorrow one has to be there at 10:30. The other one don't got to be there till 5:30. I'm going to be Ubering all over the place. Like, come on now. So then something said, calm it down, cool it now. No, nobody said that. But so calm it down. And the peace is not for you to quit, which again goes to this whole peace is not passivity. Like, peace is not meant for you to just be like, oh, I'm done. I can't do it. I give it all to you, God, and you change it and you fix it and you this and you that. No, 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 no. The peace is for you to get it together, like reel it on back in, because, okay, she missed tonight. She did. And Jordan might miss tonight. But what if instead of you focusing on that, maybe you can figure out what you can do for tomorrow? Tomorrow is more important. That's the show, right? So then I remembered Turo. I was like, isn't that the one where you can like grab a car from somebody, like around you and all of that stuff? So I had the app. I looked it up. Lo and behold, I was able to find I found a minivan. My husband I was like, listen, I need something that is close by, that fits everybody. I'm going with a minivan, okay? I'm going with a minivan right now. So I found a minivan, was able to, my older daughter and I, we Ubered to the location, was able to get the minivan, get her to her rehearsal in time. She was able to do her rehearsal the next day. I had the van, so I was able to get everybody where they needed to go. We had to go to the store. We had all of this different stuff that had to happen. And I even said to my older daughter Jordan, I was like, could you imagine if we were going to have to figure out Ubering to all these different places and all, like, could you imagine that for y'all? Like, come on now. And so um even things were going wrong along the way. She forgot to bring her sneakers for one of her performances for that night. She forgot to bring her top, but when we got there, Melissa, her daughter, had an extra top. The other girl let her borrow her sneakers. Like, everything that kept trying to get in the way, we just kept pushing it through. And what I also realized about this whole process for me, my kids were watching me. My kids were watching me the entire time. They were watching how I handled everything, from the car not starting to my conversation with their dad, my husband, to figuring it out, to even how I had to help to comfort my first daughter who missed hers, but also help her to understand this is what happens in life, right? Things happen and we get to choose how we deal with it. And the reality is that it makes more sense for mommy to focus on figuring out the solution to this overall problem now, especially for tomorrow, than for me to try to be scattering around. And like, I was trying to explain to them what was happening after I gathered myself, and kept calling on God outright. They knew that my strength was not coming from me. So um I gave all of that. That was a long story, but the peace is not passivity really stood out for me, because I could see where in moments you might quit on yourself thinking that you're seeking peace, but you're really just quitting on yourself. So hopefully you guys understood what I was saying with that. What you talking about? The pot was boiling for sure. Is that quitting or accepting your fate? No, Jay Reezy, that was quitting, because it would have been quitting because I hadn't exhausted, because I was in an emotional state. it was quitting to me because I was in an emotional state during my evaluation process. It wasn't that I really took a step back and attempted to solve the problem, and there is absolutely nothing I can do here. Because to your, like, there is moments where you have to accept your fate. Like, there's nothing I can do. But I think that that needs to come from a sound place, not from an emotional place. And I was at the point when I said I'm done, I was in an emotional place. Talk about problems on top of problems for sure. Yep, kids are watching everything we do. That's the most important lesson. They didn't carry that, brought it home. That was good though. Yeah. Which goes back to this whole thing with the whole emotional thing and all of that stuff. So all right, so that was point 5. So just questions for y'all to ponder, because this is coming to a close. We've been on a little longer than normal, but hopefully it's all good for y'all. It was definitely all good for me. Where in your life do you need grace? Where in your life do you need a better system? Have you been calling something grace when it may actually need accountability? Have you been using accountability as a reason to beat yourself up? And what is one area where you need to tell yourself the truth without shame? So those are just 5 questions for you um, to ponder. One of the things that I did want to do before closing out, because I would be remiss if I didn't. Totally agree that we still need to have a sound mind through it all. It's all good. Great lessons learned this evening. So this was something I'm gonna be transparent with y'all. This part I just asked Enrique. So this I was like, well, listen, because what do you suggest as a way of checking if you are if you need to be giving yourself grace versus I'm sorry, if you're giving yourself if you are giving yourself grace or if you are making an excuse. And so he said the grace versus excuse check. Ask yourself 3 questions. 1, did I have a real limitation or did I ignore a real responsibility? Grace may be needed when there were real limitations, travel, exhaustion, sickness, family needs, unexpected delays, emotional heaviness, or lack of capacity. Accountability may be needed when you had space to prepare but avoided it, delayed it, minimized it, or kept choosing easier things. So grace acknowledges real limitations, excuses hide from real responsibility. Number 2, am I using this to recover and adjust or to repeat the same pattern? So grace helps you to get back up. An excuse lets you stay down without making changes. Grace should lead me to restoration. Accountability should lead me to adjustment. Number 3, what is the fruit? Ask yourself, is this helping me become more faithful? Is it making me more honest? Is it helping me build a better system? Or is it helping me avoid discomfort? The difference shows up in the fruit. So, simple summary, grace comforts me, accountability corrects me, wisdom knows I need both. And then these I asked for scriptures, which I'm not going to read all of them, but I will read some of them for those of you who care to hear. The first one is Ephesians chapter 2, verses 8 through 10. And it says, "For by grace you have been saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not as a result of works, so that no one may boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand so that we would walk in them." And stuff like this not only reminds me that we have grace, it not only reminds me that we didn't earn it, but God gives it to us, which to me actually is makes it more valuable than even if you could earn it, which we don't earn it. So that's also why I think it is important to recognize when you're supposed to allow for grace, because that was a gift that was given to us. So we should not take it for granted. We also shouldn't take advantage of it in a way where it prevents us from being good stewards of the gift of life that God has given us. So then we have Second Corinthians 12:9. Yeah, I'll just do that one, and I'll just do these last two. Second Corinthians. I'm getting a little bit better with like getting to the scriptures. So 12 verse 9. And he has said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for power is perfected in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, I will rather boast about my weaknesses so that the power of Christ may dwell in me. I love that. I love my grace is sufficient for you, for power is perfected in weakness. That is so helpful to not beat yourself up. It's like a reminder that not like you should like look to be weak, but it's like his power is perfected in your weakness. You know, like it just, I don't know, it's like a comforter for me. So there's that. And I'll just do Romans 8:1. I'll just do Romans 8:1 because I have a bunch of them here. I'll just do Romans 8:1. Romans 8:1. We used to sing this song in church. There is therefore no condemnation. I'm not gonna sing that song because that song is hard to sing. It's so funny. When I was in the choir years ago, singing so many songs that came like took scriptures from the Bible, but it just didn't hit. It didn't hit the same as it hits me now, and it's all good. I thank God that He drew me to Him, and I walked. Okay, so Romans 8, verse 1. Therefore, there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Hello. So all of this stuff where you might start to condemn yourself, can't do that. God don't like that. He doesn't do it to us. You can't do it to yourself. Period. So in closing, amen and amen and amen. In closing, let me give you grace is not the opposite of accountability. Grace gives you courage to face accountability without condemnation. So remember that. And then also remember, hold up. Grace does not remove responsibility. Accountability does not have to become shame. Shame attacks identity. Accountability examines actions. Real surrender can still steward responsibility. Give yourself grace for the season, but take responsibility for the system. Learn how to be honest with yourself without beating yourself up. And on that note, guys, I am done. I hope that when I come in here, I'm sorry, I'm saying I got to work on my ums, but I hope that these types of conversations are helpful, beneficial, at least bring things to your mind to ponder on, to consider, maybe helpful, not sure, but I hope that it has some type of positive impact or just feeds into a positive space for you, it definitely is helpful for me. I mean, even having to process my thoughts to figure out what to talk about here is not only therapeutic, but it forces me to reflect in real time. I'm a firm believer of that, but it really does force me to reflect in real time and helps me to get closer to my gems of wisdom, or picking them up quicker. So you all definitely help me to be a better version of me. And I just hope that I'm able to, to reciprocate that in some way, shape, or form. So thank you all for tuning in and coming in. As I always say, I hope that you go out and you have an incredible day, an incredible night, and that you go out and you be great, because you are great. All right. You guys have a good one. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.